Yep.
Well, I think a gym like Planet Fitness is they have their demographic, and they're always going to have their demographic, and it's not us. That's what people need to realize, that like there are people that go, oh no, it's fine. They got a nice Life Fitness cable stack, good Smith machine. Maybe they've got some fucking hammer strength equipment or something, but if you've never been in a real gym and maybe spent some actual time in that real gym, felt like the camaraderie between members, feel the energy that comes out of that place when people are having kick-ass sessions, music's blasting, chalk's everywhere. It's a little dirty and the machines don't match and the plates don't match, but like that energy is so infectious that when you leave those gyms and go into one of those Planet Fitnesses or LA Fitnesses, it just feels like death. There's just like a complete void of all like life and energy. You're like, what the hell is this place?
How did Tommy do?
Tommy was in the second call out. I don't know where he landed. I think he got 8th.
Okay.
He looked good.
Not bad.
Yeah. Tommy looked good, man. Tommy had a great year. He just
needs to, I mean, he knows, but I'm like, your limbs, like your torso is, and your limbs don't match. Like,
I can see that.
Yeah,
but here's the thing: his limbs used to match his torso. His torso just got a lot better. You know what I mean? So
he was funny. He sent me a text, and because Tommy likes to like write things down and like his missions, And his first thing was, "I'll never compete as a heavy again," and the second was, "I'll never not be in the top 5 again." And I sent back, "Number 1 takes care of number 2."
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought, Dusty. I was like, oh, it's like Chris Aceto's rules. Like rule number 1, there are no rules. Rule number 2, refer to rule number 1. Like,
exactly. I sent that to him and he goes, "I never thought of it that way." And I said, "Tommy, I make everything as simple as possible."
Yeah, boil it all down. Boil it all down.
I mean, you at 250, you're in the top 5. So, and then I had a classic physique guy. He was 17 pounds under, and he took 4th. And I'm like, you do understand at 17 pounds up, you're winning the overall.
Oh, I did see that. I did see. Yeah. I think you posted that. Yeah.
Yeah.
He looked good, man. He looked really good.
He's great too, because he's one of those guys like, and I should talk about this on the show, because I could bring up the fact that he's never done growth, never done insulin.
Liar.
Test, lies. Liar. Now he's lying for other people.
Lying for some sort of benefit somehow? How would this benefit them?
I don't know how this is good for him, but that's what he's doing. He's lying. But yeah, I'm excited for him. I'm actually going to see him. Oh,
Well, what's happening?
What is up, man?
Hey, I forgot we had a guest.
Yeah.
I forgot we were on a show.
Let me see here. I got to figure out this mic, and
we got to just leave that in.
Yeah, just the whole thing.
Yeah. So everybody, welcome to It's Just Bodybuilding. I'm your host, Big Ron Partlow, with my co-host, Dusty Hanshaw, top corner. I like saying that. That's a hockey thing for you, Dusty.
I am top corner.
Yeah, and Scott, the producer, McNally, the producer. And then, of course, we got Justin Shier on the show today. How you doing, man?
He has no...
Excellent
good,
to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Guys.
Yeah.
Sorry for being late.
Live from the kitchen.
Yeah, the famous kitchen.
Do you have a set of headphones you could throw on?
He was trying to do that, and then you just were like, "We got to start the show," and you tried to. You immediately started the show.
Just pushed him through.
You were being kind of.
Okay, I'll do the housekeeping then.
You were being a bit pushy, and I did.
Yeah,
I was just excited, man. It's like when I see you in public and I can't stop hugging you. I don't mean to be that way.
It's okay. I get it. I have that effect on people.
Remember, like, share, subscribe, comment, and
ring the bell.
Yes, and of course, remember, IamMutant.com, loving us, showing us the love every month. So remember, Dusty20, Big Ron 20, get your 20% off, get your IsoSurge, you're all in, and everyone should get on the gear. And Scott, the producer, McNally, remember, keep a producer homed at Think Big Bodybuilding Media Patreon.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate it.
Because he will do the show if he's homeless. He will find a way to set up, but we would like to keep him home. So go to the Patreon for the price of a cup of coffee. Do you like this coffee cup today, guys?
Oh, that's a good
This
one.
is some gourmet shit.
That's the shit.
It's a good
Hell
one.
yeah.
Okay. This
All right,
is what
Yeah,
you get from a good training partner. Good training partners give gifts like this.
My training partner had a wallet that said "bad motherfucker" on it.
Oh yeah, Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Huh? That's great.
I knew a guy that had one of those once too. I knew a guy that had one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, he bought it in
gotta figure-
Thailand or something.
I got to figure this thing out. Are there some settings? Is my mic working? Is that working?
Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
Mike's
And
great.
actually, if you can hear us, I think everything sounds good.
Okay.
You know, without the headphones, I think we're good. We could just roll with this.
Yeah, I'm totally fine without headphones. Can I
Okay,
make this? Can I make this for full screen? This is a little different than how we're good.
Dusty,
Okay.
if you go full screen, Dusty might wreck it for you.
For sure.
Yeah.
You know?
I'll stay here then.
So okay, let's just. There's a lot we want to talk about. Well, I want to have some fun with you, but what the fuck, dude? One show, bam,
One and done, baby.
smashed.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
It feels really fucking good. I think, Matt told me the whole time, he's like, we're going to win this show. We're going to win this show. Like 20 weeks out, he's like, just know that you're winning the show. So I think there was that like fucking conditioning, right? Like he conditioned me to win the show. And I don't think enough people like mentally condition themselves to fucking win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I went on several podcasts and was like, yep, I'm going to go win. I'm going to go win. And I just had to you just got to fucking believe that shit, you know? And
that's awesome.
yeah. And then it worked out.
I mean, it also helps to have the best physique too, like that the inassistance to the belief and all that. Having the physique to back it up.
And having like the best coach, man. I mean, I don't think there's like having Matt in my corner, the amount of confidence I have coming into a show, like, man, I'm so grateful to have Matt. Matt's the best.
You guys really pushed too. Like I remember seeing you, man, you were so big back in the winter. I remember seeing you at the Arnold. Like I was like literally impressed. You wearing just like a hoodie. You know what I mean? Like you were just so massive. Full blown was beef stew. I was trying to come up with the term, and beef stew was he was like, you mean he was full blown, right? And I was like, yeah, you were totally full blown at the Arnold.
Yeah, we pushed things. Honestly, I look back at like my wife was like showing me pictures of how fat I was, and we're looking at these like Olympia photos in December, and it was like, or what was it, November? It's kind of right before I started prep, and I was like, holy fuck, I was so fat.
So how heavy did you get, and then what did you come down to for the show, and then how long was that dieting process?
So the heaviest I got was like 270. I did touch like 274, but when we started my diet, I was like 267, and we dieted for a little like 22 weeks, and then show day I was 222.
No kidding.
That's that's an old school cut.
Yeah.
That's
the old 50
that's no
right?
body comp shift. That's no like start prep at 230, compete at 225. That's an old school like you brought it down.
Yeah, we did. I mean, we went from 6,000 calories down to fucking 1,700. You know?
Yeah.
These are the numbers I want people to see, because
I love that.
I love when people tell me they're going to shrink if their calories are too low. I'm like, you got water, you're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, those
water and salt.
Like,
you just made a salt and androgens at that point.
Yeah, no shit. You just up the halo and you're not going to shrink. Don't worry about it. You're fine. So honestly, the last 3 weeks, fuck man, were just death days. Like if you looked at those days on paper, like they just it didn't look sustainable. But okay, I won. You know, that's what we had to do. Matt told me, he's like, honestly, he's like, my gut tells me I don't want to have to push this hard, but let's just keep going. And like we had a few high days mixed in, but it was like I had like 70 grams of rice pre-workout and 50 grams of rice post-workout, 2 hours of cardio, and like that was it. Like no added fats. He was like, we just gotta fucking push you in, man.
That's
but it all worked out.
How was your strength?
What did you? Oh yeah. Well, I was just gonna ask, what did you weigh 6 weeks out? Do you remember?
Man, 6 weeks out. So honestly, I had this like weird phase where I was not dropping weight. Like it's like from 6 to, or like maybe 8 to 5 weeks out, I just wouldn't fucking drop weight. My weight was doing this. And Matt honestly was like, hey, dude, I just need you to pull all your gear and get a new source. He's like, you need to get rid of whatever you're taking, throw it away, and we're getting a new source. So he set me up with somebody else. And honestly, I dropped 13 pounds in 10 days when I switched sources.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, like I was having some like these crazy water retention issues where I'd shoot up 5 pounds, then the next day I'd drop, and then I'd shoot up 5 pounds, and like, dude, what the fuck? Matt was like, dude, you look like you're on Deca and fucking Anadrols, and we're running fucking Trent and Winnie.
Yeah.
You should not look like that. So we flushed all that shit down the drain and get a new source in, and then I just like dropped. But it was like that 3 week window where he was like, hey, we just got to figure out what's going on with your body, blah, blah, blah. We just lost some ground. Yeah. So then from there, it was like, just fucking dive bomb, crank the cardio up, no fucking food, no fun.
Yeah.
And then,
that's funny. That reminds me of a guy that I met at the USA's who got his pro card. Dusty knows him, but he was a pro that Chris Aceto worked with. And Chris told me that at 6 weeks out, the guy was like way behind and looked like shit. Mm-hmm. And he's like, okay, what can you get that's real? Like 100% real. And the guy was like, I can get Prop and I can get Pharmacy Anavar. And that's it. And he goes, get a bunch of it and throw everything else out. And then in the last 6 weeks, the guy just transformed and got his pro card.
That's awesome. Yeah, it was it was really fucking obvious that I morphed and like within that 2 weeks dropping that 13 pounds, like holy fuck. Like I went from like 242 and out of shape to like 230 and peeled. I was like, whoa,
yeah,
there it is. You know,
love it.
What I want to go back to this Matt believing in you thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously the off season went really well. Like you've had like a big, huge off season. So like what? Yeah. Several. How many years of just off season?
So it was from December of 21, and then I started dieting. Like right around December of 22. So then, so I guess it was like a little over a full year of off season. Is that right?
Okay.
21. And then, I guess I started dieting like February. Cause honestly, I was supposed to do New York. So that was my plan. I was going to do New York Pro.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. But honestly, you guys are aware, like my mom passed in October of 22, and I would have been just starting prep right after that. It just was just like, no way.
It was a good idea to wait,
Yeah. And honestly, it all worked out better anyway. But so I ended up dieting. I think we ended up coming down like 10 weeks after that. So like in February. So yeah, it was like 14 straight months of off season.
Man, when did you start to really realize that you were like, when did the obvious gains, because a lot of people, they do these short little off seasons and nothing ever really accumulates, You know
what? I think to be honest, I'll give you some credit. This is funny. I remember at the Olympia, you told me you were the biggest, most sauced up guy at that booth. Remember you telling me that? I was like, really? But there's that point in the off season where like you gotta put, like, I always tell these guys, like, it's extremes on both ends. I mean, you have to dip into that extreme when you're dieting, obviously, you can push and suffer. And then you got to push into those extremes where you're fucking uncomfortable and fucking bloated and fat and sweaty and you look like shit. Like you just have to do that. You know what I mean? There's phases and periods of times that you have to do that. And around that Olympia was like, we kind of pushed and pushed and pushed, and then we like pulled back, and I went from that like 274 to 265. And then I cleared some water, and I was like, all right, I don't look as shitty, but I'm still big. So like, you know what I mean?
That's where it was, by the way. I said I saw you at the Arnold, and you look full blown. It was the Olympia. It was that Olympia look. Yeah, that was.
I remember telling you that. I remember saying, dude, you were the biggest, most sauced up guy at that booth. I remember saying that.
Cool. Yeah.
That's a hell of a booth to say that in. So that adds something.
It was good looking too.
Yeah, it felt good. Yeah.
Oh man.
But I think
we miss those days.
Yeah, I know. You posted something on your story the other day, and I was like, holy fuck, look at the size of this guy's face right now. Like a whole
of his face. I love it.
Dude, I love it. It's so cool, man. I was watching some old, I think So I went to USA Gym in Chicago, and I watched the Mutant on the Mission before that. And
you were no way.
Yeah, you looked like you were cranking, dude. You were fucking big.
Yeah, it was a lot bigger back then. It would have been over 300 for sure. But
yeah, you were fucking.
He was great. Big. What a great gym that was.
Oh, isn't it so cool, man? Like honestly, they had like a lot of the old school original Panada stuff. That like you have like the high row. They have the OG Panada high row, and it's so good. It felt so amazing.
I know. I just the amount of effort put into all the photos on the walls and stuff. That
I know, man.
That stuff really set like it. Just like how many times did he pull the fucking ladder out, put up another picture?
No shit. Yeah,
just everywhere.
So like the day before, so Matt got there Wednesday, so I was there Tuesday, and I went and trained at like this LA Fitness shithole right by the hotel, and it was just it's like discouraging. Like I didn't want to be there
as a gym owner.
Yeah, I was like, this fucking sucks. So the next day, Matt was like, let's go to USA Gym, let's get into a good environment, get you in a better headspace. And as soon as I walked in that place, I was like, fuck. Yes, dude. I was like, I felt like a bodybuilder. I was like, I'm in the right place. Like the equipment was old and squeaky and rusty. None of the plates matched. All the fucking paint was chipped and fucking, you could just smell the gym. I was like, this is a fucking gym. And this is where I needed to be. It's like, I feel like, not that I wouldn't have won the show if I didn't go there, but I was like, that's right there set the trajectory for like the rest of the weekend. It was like that session.
Oh, your environment is everything.
Oh, dude. I left there like fucking pumped. And I left that other gym sad.
Yeah.
I was like, this sucks.
And if let's just say Matt walked up to you at the end of your workout and said, I got some bad news for you. And you were like, what? And he goes, I need you to do 2 hours on the stepper right now.
I said, fuck it.
The difference in how hard that would be at an LA Fitness versus USA Gym. Dude, it'd be way easier to do at USA Gym.
Yeah. Yep. That's honestly a really good way to quantify it, because I would have been like, let's fucking do it. And then I would have like went to my wife and be like, dude, he wants me to go get on these fucking stair steppers. Oh my God. The environment's everything, dude. And I talked about that in my videos. Like, guys, please just seek out an environment that's conducive for this shit. Like, go somewhere where you can feel like a bodybuilder, be a bodybuilder, and do your thing without judgment. Like I took my shirt off and took some shots because Matt wanted some poses, and I'm just like, everybody's staring at me. I could tell the staff wanted to come and approach me, and it was just like, all right, I ripped them off, took 3 shots, put my shirt back on. I was like, ugh, let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. We just talked about that recently. Somebody said they were training at an LA or at a Planet Fitness. And I was like, one of our listeners trains at Planet Fitness. And then a bunch of people chimed in. They're like, oh, I train at Planet Fitness too. So I love that they're hearing what you're saying, man, because, and if you don't support those gyms, then we don't have those gyms. They go away. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yep. I think a gym like Planet Fitness is, they have their demographic, and they're always going to have their demographic, and it's not us. That's what people need to realize, that like there are people that go, oh no, it's fine. They got a nice Life Fitness cable stack, good Smith machine. Maybe they've got some fucking hammer strength equipment or something, but if you've never been in a real gym and maybe spent some actual time in that real gym, felt like the camaraderie between members, feel the energy that comes out of that place when people are having kick-ass sessions, music's blasting, chalk's everywhere. It's a little dirty and the machines don't match and the plates don't match, but like that energy is so infectious that when you leave those gyms and go into one of those Planet Fitnesses or LA Fitnesses, it just feels like death. There's just like a complete void of all like life and energy. You're like, what the hell is this place?
Yeah,
I call them hospital gyms.
Yeah, that's it. Sterile and sad.
You can smell that hot. They smell the same as, just think of an ER room.
Yeah, it's exactly it.
Yeah,
I know, man.
Yeah,
I think a lot of clients come to me and they'll like send me training videos, and immediately I'm like, hey, where are you at? What gyms do you have? Because I want you out of that place.
Yeah,
like I just see all bright green and orange walls and like. Everything matches. It's all matching Star Trek equipment, the whole kit. I'm like, I got to get you out of that gym. That's step one to this plan, is getting you out of that gym. And then sometimes I'm like, dude, like I Google their area. I'm like, have you been to this gym? Have you been to this gym? Like, this place is sick. Like, and like it's good to like help steer people in that direction. It's not always the plan. Sometimes it's just shifting the environment can shift the mindset.
Exactly.
Exactly.
It's funny that so as a you got your own gym. Like, what happens when you return to your gym with an Olympia qualification?
Well, I walked in the door, and like my employees and my little sister, they had like a big banner on the wall that said Mr. Olympia and fucking stars everywhere and glitter everywhere. So that was really cool.
Way.
I walked in. I was surprised with that the other day. And like Jasmine's like bugging me. She's like, hurry up. Let's go. I'm like, fucking leave me alone. Like, we'll get there when we get there. I didn't realize that. Like everybody's like planning this like surprise welcome thing. And I'm just like, taking my sweet ass time, but that was really cool. But yeah, I mean, obviously everybody's excited. They've got a good group of young kids that are bodybuilding and doing shows, and like you just feel them being completely inspired, and it's so cool to see.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
that you can bring that home to your environment. So
yeah.
I love seeing a gym owner qualify for the O.
There was a shift. There was a shift in energy because I was like probably 4 kids that are doing like one of our local shows here in like 8 weeks. So I've got like 4 kids that are between 19 and like 25 prepping for this show, and like I can just see the walk, like the swagger in them, like they're like I'm fucking winning this show, like they're fired up. They're telling me that they're fired up. They watched my whole prep series, like they watch all the YouTube content. So it's cool to be able to like provide that and be there and be able to encourage these kids as they're, starting this little journey. So it's fun, man. I fucking love it.
I want to ask you about the hardest part of the prep. You touched on it earlier, but just digging really deep, like how many days do you think you did 2 hours of cardio? And how many days do you think you did that 100 grams of rice with no other carbs at all and that sort of stuff?
It was close to 3 weeks. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I just really want people to understand, like I think people get caught up on formulas that they read too much and, mathematically we should be able to do this many calories per pound and lose weight.
Yeah.
But they don't understand the adaptive process. Like you run into like the evolutionary, where your body doesn't want to lose more fat in case you get stuck in the forest. Right.
Yeah. Like exactly.
Like it starts to resist. And then that's when we have to do things that go off the GPS. And I think that's something that a lot of people miss. And I think we all have had resistance from clients. Like they're like, oh, that seems really low. You're like, have you ever had your glutes ripped?
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, dude. I mean, yeah. That's a perfect example. Is like, put yourself in the desert and starve, and your body's going to do different stuff to stay alive. And sometimes we get in that place where it's like, as much as I would like to eat and do less cardio, I'm not quite in shape. So what do you do?
Yep.
Yeah.
Keep jamming.
Yeah.
But then there's also that part that like Matt was really good about pulling back when we needed to pull back. Like, hey, today we're just going to do 35 minutes in the morning. I want you to add 100 grams of rice to each meal just today. And I was like, I just want you to fucking forget about bodybuilding, relax, feet up. And then then you can see a response from that as well, right? Because you can, there is a fine line where you need to push, but sometimes that pushing too far can be, from a mental standpoint and like a stress standpoint, cause reactions that aren't conducive to getting in shape. You know what I mean? Cortisol is spiked, stress levels spiked, and like sometimes just pulling back for a half a day where you just maybe even you just don't do your evening cardio. Like Matt one day, he was like, I just want you to ride the bike for 10 minutes after your training, no evening cardio, like get home as soon as possible and just please lay down for like the next 5 hours. And then I drop like 2 pounds the next day just from fucking getting out of my head for a second. But then guess what? I woke up 2 pounds down. He's like, now get on the bike for a fucking hour. We're starving again today.
As a reward.
Yeah, you get that. You get that. People be like, man, I have clients that are like, man, that last year, I'm really hoping I don't have to work that hard because last year I got down all the way down to 2,000 calories and 90 minutes of cardio. I was like, dude, you're 185 pounds and chubby. Like I've been 230 and peeled and done 2 hours of cardio on 1,700 calories. Like, you know, you don't understand what these guys are doing. When you see these guys like inside out peeled and they're 250 on stage, dude, you're fine.
Well, it can be a lot easier too to then say, well, I need a new coach because this coach made me eat 1,500 calories, and you shouldn't have to do that during a prep.
And listen, maybe next prep I won't have to do that.
There you go.
Right.
You know what I mean? But this one I did.
I feel like those preps where you have to do less are actually a little more nerve-wracking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because it gets in your head a little bit when like you're like, I'm not dying and I'm 3 weeks out. Even though the pictures are great, the weight is great, but you're like, I remember I had Chris did that one year where we did 2 high days in a row, and then he sent me a third one, and I read it, and I was like, So I told my wife, I'm like, I think what I'm going to do instead of the burgers, I'm just going to do some ground beef. Like I was already changing it, and then I got a text. He goes, it just says, you need to trust me. And I'm like, how did you know? Like he knew I was freaking out a little bit but if you'd have told me to eat, you know, just drink water for the day, I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Perfect.
But,
okay,
too
good.
much is scary.
I think that's exactly what I needed. Was just water today. I need to do a water fast.
Water fast.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like you feel like you're like, this doesn't suck, and I don't like that.
Yeah,
like I feel uncomfortable. This should suck right now.
Yeah. Do you think if you were uncoached and you were doing everything, do you think you'd overdo things? Do you think you'd kind of come in too light and you'd come in like over dieted and so you've got that mentality.
Oh man, I know. Like Matt was showing me pictures in the hotel. Like now I'm looking at him. He's showing me pictures in the hotel as we're fucking peaking, and I'm like, I'm fat. And then I'm looking at him now. I'm like, oh, I was peeled. Like, you just don't get it. Like it's so hard to be objective and like look at these things for what they are. I'm like, oh man, like it's. But then you have those guys that are the exact opposite, and I don't understand those guys.
Yeah.
Those guys that are 2 weeks out, that are clearly aren't in shape, that are like, man, my coach wants me to do more. It's like, man, I'm there. Like, oh my God, I'm so glad I don't have that problem. Yeah. Those delusional guys and then there's those delusional guys that like will get 10th place at a show. I'm like, man, I got fucked. I'm like, dude, you were outsized and out of shape. How do you not see that?
Yeah.
It is frightening because sometimes they won't see it right in front of them. I was prepping 3 guys for a show one time, and one was behind and thought he wasn't. So I was like, I'm going to have them pose together.
There you go.
I was like, this will help.
Yeah.
And then he literally, he posted up a rear double bicep picture where 2 of them are sliced, and there's him. And he literally put in the caption, look how peeled we are. And I'm like, it didn't work. It didn't
stacked his confidence.
Oh, God. Oh no! It backfired. He thought he looked better.
I thought for sure, putting 2 peeled guys on either side of him would be no.
Yeah, some people. I don't know, man. I mean, I guess in the same respect, when we look in the mirror, like I know you guys get it. You look in the mirror, you're like, I look like shit. I guess that's a delusion in itself. So I guess it can be flipped where you look in the mirror and think you look fucking awesome when you look like shit. So
you don't notice until I think it's gonna be funny for you, Justin, when you're done, because it's even wilder. Like down the line. I don't know why, but I'm looking at pictures from like way back in the day, and they were just mutants like doing like shirts. We were taking pictures, and I literally looked at one of the pictures. I'm like, I don't ever remember being that big. Like it was just blew my mind because I think you're spending your whole time, especially someone like me where it's like, you're a long ways back from the top. So you're only thinking about how much better these guys are. So you don't even see yourself at all. It's like somebody goes, you're huge. You're like, you see Kai Green.
It's kind of a shame, isn't it? Like, I was just talking with Roman because Roman obviously won the show, and big shout out to Roman. I'm super stoked for him.
Yes.
But he asked me, he's like, did it set in yet? I was like, nah. I said, I don't think it's going to set in until like we're on the Olympia stage. He says, I don't think it's going to set in until we look back in 15 years.
I agree.
I'm like, I think that's probably more accurate. Because right now it's like I just came home and it's like, all right back to work. So I haven't really processed things.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of waiting for that day that I'm like, I'm going to the Olympia. Like I know it, but it just doesn't feel real, you know?
Yeah. How does it feel to, well, I guess you probably haven't processed any of this yet, but you know, you're one of the new wave of like, you're the next gen guy coming in. Like there's a bunch of you know, you're new to the Arnold and the O, and you showed up the last few years, and there's a bunch of you guys, and it's exciting. And, you know, you bring obviously like a crazy physique that's got a unique look to it as well. So when you look at your structure, which is bizarre, like off the charts, how do you feel when you insert yourself visually into the Olympia lineup? Just thinking of your shape and structure with your, you know, physique up there.
Well, this year I'm realistic. You know, I would love to be top 10 this year, but I think in the next 2 years, I think I'm going to be in the top 5, and I think I'm going to be pushing these top guys. That's my plan. Agreed. You know, honestly, Matt sent me a message. I mean, some people might not know that, you know, I did my first show in 2019, and, you know, I'd never taken drugs before that, nothing. So like these guys that I just beat on stage were at the Olympia before I even did my first show. Yeah. You know, so like I'm very new to this, and, you know, I haven't had a year yet that I didn't put on like 10 pounds of muscle. You know, last year I put on 10 pounds between nationals and this year. And I'm, you know, next year I want to repeat that, you know? So I think, Matt sent me this message. It was an audio message after the show. And he was like, hey, I just want you to know that like you displayed this weekend that you have, you know, a tremendous talent for this. He's like, but I need you to shift your mindset from being a guy in his rookie season, trying to win his pro debut. He says, now you're trying to be the very best in the world. Like, so find that in your head, and let's get back to work. And it was really short. Like Matt has a way of just like delivering these short messages that'll just make the hair stand up on your arm. And then you're like, all right, let's fucking work.
Right.
You know,
that sort of sounds like, you know, between any coach and athlete, that sort of sounds like historically is the key factor, is a level of communication that sort of rises above, you know, that coach might have, you know, 20 athletes or 50 athletes or whatever. Yeah. But there's like a certain number of people that the Lego pieces just fit together perfectly when it comes to the communication.
For sure.
And it also kind of explains how all the great coaches also have like a guy that didn't work.
Right.
Like, you know how there's that one great athlete and that one coach that has like a bunch of Olympias, and they try to work together and it doesn't work.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's just a communication styles on like a real nuanced level. Like if you guys lock together like that, the you know, the mindset and all the positive energy and you know, it's just, I think that's where like the magic is, you know?
Oh, it is. Matt is so much more than a guy with a good plan. Like that's not coaching. Like coaching is being able to connect with the individual, and the way Matt is able to connect with not just me, but all his athletes, the way he's able to kind of infiltrate their mind and condition them to be fucking winners. I think that's what separates Matt as a coach more than anything. Obviously the guy's brilliant. I've never had a question that I shot at Matt that like he may not always, he's never afraid to like tell me that, you know, he's not, you know, the most knowledgeable on something. But what I'm saying is like that guy can always help me with a solution. He can always steer me in the right direction. Like the guy is, obviously he's not where he's at from, you know, this coaching business without, you know, being incredibly smart, but he's just so valuable to have in my corner. And fuck, man, I can't even express with words how much I value that guy.
Yeah. Do you have a training partner? I know you train with Jazz sometimes.
Yeah, I'll train with Jasmine sometimes, but yeah, I don't have a training partner. My most recent training partner, his girlfriend is a fucking nightmare, and she caused so many issues in my gym that I had to remove her.
Oh God,
I had to permanently remove this girl, and that was my training partner's girlfriend. So he went with her. It sucked, but it was one of those things that like had to happen. I was losing members because of this girl. She was causing issues with my staff, causing personal issues like between my wife and myself. Like just one of those situations. Like you are the most toxic human being I know. And I told my friend Nick, my training partner, I was like, I'm sorry, but I have to do this. So I trained that whole prep by myself. But listen. I think it was you, Ron, that said it. You were like, anything short of an absolutely amazing training partner is no better than no training partner at all, right? So
yes,
when this guy was my training partner, I love Nick, and he is a good training partner. He has the ability to be a great training partner, but he was dealing with so much bullshit from his girlfriend that it wore me down in our sessions. I'm starting this prep, and I'm like dealing with him and his fucking girlfriend, and she's storming out of the gym because they're fighting, and we're training. He's going and chasing her down. I'm giving him a ride home. I'm giving him a ride home after our workout because they got in a fight, and it's just like, dude,
wow, it's a
you
lot.
know, like that type of stuff. So like eliminating that, honestly, coming in my prep was better for me.
Yeah,
and training by myself.
Oh Jesus, yes,
yeah,
absolutely, man.
I love the guy, and I don't know if Nick, I don't know if you're watching, dude, but I love you, man. Obviously, he knows he's a close friend of mine, and he is a great training partner. It's just the girlfriend thing is just too much, and I think you guys all know, we've all been there.
Oh yeah, of course. And I see it too. I own a gym, so I see it. You know what I mean? And I know which couples are fighting, and then the one. Yeah,
you feel
and then the one
right?
person has to put their membership on hold for a few months to go train at the, anytime.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not doing cardio together anymore.
You feel that energy in the air, man, and it's just not a good thing. It's not conducive for like a community environment in the gym. Like, you guys take your bullshit elsewhere.
But you have an outstanding situation where your wife is a perfectly trained spotter.
Yes. Yeah.
So how often does she spot you? Like, is she in the gym every time you're training? Like, what's that?
We train at the same time. We don't always train together. Sometimes we will, but she's just doing something different than me. And it's just one of those things that when it's top set time, I call her over. She spots me. She calls me over. I spot her, and then we go our separate ways. It's beautiful.
Oh, that's just the perfect situation.
It is. It really is perfect. Because honestly, you guys know how it is. Sometimes you have a training partner and like you're like, hey, I just kind of want to train and not really talk. I just want to.
That's my whole life.
Yeah, and I just need you to spot me. I'll spot you. We'll cheer each other on, but I don't want to hear about your day.
It's called the last 8 weeks.
I got to teach you a gem, Justin, in case you ever get another partner. Because I did this on accident when I was a kid, and when it came out of my mouth, it was flawless. So I was like, "Oh, that's permanent." And I had a buddy that came in. He was a great training partner, and he's going on and on about this stuff. We're about to start, and I literally put my hand on his shoulder. I said, "Listen, man, we're friends. I absolutely care about your life. I just don't care about it right fucking now. So you can either shut up, stay here, and train with me, or leave." He literally said, "Give me 5 minutes," walked away, came back. He said, "I'm sorry." And I never heard anything like that ever again. He was like, in the gym for me, it's like when I walk in the front door, it's over. Like, it's not the time. I mean, I do not, and it's the same for me. I mean, when I own my businesses and so many things, I walk in the gym, that shit stays in the car.
Yeah.
Like, you got 2 hours. If you can't just zero it in for 2 hours, you're in my way.
Well, that's one of the most valuable things of us escaping to the gym, right? Like, I'm not here to think about any of that shit. Mm-mm. And I'm certainly not here to think about any of your shit.
Yeah. You got enough of your own shit to not think about.
But I'm also like I also like to banter and talk and have fun. Like, I'm not saying we can't enjoy ourselves, enjoy some conversation and fuck around, but I just like, there is etiquette with what we discuss. Yeah. You know?
Yeah,
like let's talk about. I don't give a fuck. We can talk about TV shows. You know what I mean? We can talk about the things that we enjoy. We can talk about food, whatever. But I don't. Yeah, I don't want to talk about your problems or your girlfriend or work stress. And we're here to avoid all that. Pour that shit into your set.
You know what I'd like to see? I would like to be in Justin's gym when all the young guys are training, so that I could see the influence of his very specific training style, the influence he has had on the younger
full of
crew.
Shier reps.
Yes.
To be honest, it's pretty funny because like I see somebody come in and then I'll watch like the shift of their training styles.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, look, they're pulling off the floor every Monday. Like I got a whole group of kids that are like deadlifting every Monday, you know? It's pretty cool. Some people misinterpret it. I think we've talked about that before where like they're going way too light and just trying to do these like really slow negatives. I'm like, you guys are completely missing what I'm doing here, but hey, keep watching and keep learning.
That's the problem though, is the way that you execute. One of my old training partners explained to me that people who are more advanced are connecting with the muscle better in general anyways. Yeah. So you're not just going slow, like, cause that's get lost. And I know Mike talks about that a ton. Like if you're just going slow, but you're not using the muscle you're trying to work with, that doesn't matter, you know? And that's what people miss. It's like, it's controlled, but it's brutal on the target muscle, you know? But I do think it's funny that they miss on the light part. Cause I'm like, what part is light on 450, 500 pound RDLs? Just because they're quiet doesn't mean they're light.
And honestly, I think what people misinterpret my training a little bit. Like I see a lot of people tagging me in their training and it's like these really, really slow negatives. I'm like, I don't even do that. Like I'll do a controlled negative, but I think what they don't see is it's really the control of the end ranges, right? It's like getting it in that pause in the fully stretch and then nailing a hard contraction and then, you know, seeing everything in between being so fluid that it maybe appears slower than it is. So then you got guys that are just like squeezing and then going all on their biceps. I'm like, guys, you're totally missing it. There's more nuance. But I will say that there has been a shift in like the training culture over the past, I'd say 2 years that I think is beneficial and can help like overall physique development in the future. I really
probably less people get hurt.
Well, I think, of course, there's like we're mitigating injury, but I think more than anything, there's just been an emphasis placed on proper execution and control. And I think there was that era. It's like the Ronnie and Branch era that, you know, fuck, man, I think that caused a lot of injury in the gym. And I think it also there's just like a overall regression of physiques during that time because people don't understand that is never going to work for you ever.
That's the magic is what works for you.
And the funny thing is for me, it's kind of full circle because if you go back and watch Dorian do pull downs on blood and guts, spending time in the end range, you know,
that's exactly it, man.
And it's not, it's what you're doing. And you watch him do his barbell rows and it's very simple. Just lat drive, boom, hitting his belt, boom, you know, and the control on everything. And I'm like, this is where we used to be at one point. It's where, you know what I mean?
And then it regressed out of that. And listen, it's not to say that like a lot of guys can't get some stimulus from this and it doesn't work for a lot of people, but you're talking about like the most genetically elite individuals in the entire world that can basically do anything and grow.
Yeah. And it's a durability issue.
People need to understand. It is a durability issue for sure. Absolutely. You know, I was talking with Keon, who trained with Martin and trained with Branch, and he just sent me an audio message, I guess probably a year ago. He's like, I just can't do this anymore, bro. He's like, I just can't do it. He's like, I love training with these guys and it's training hard and I enjoy it. He's like, but he's like, my elbows always hurt. My knees always hurt. And I was like, listen, dude, you can do anything and grow. Like you don't need to be fucking, you are so advanced. Like nobody has Keon's genetics. Very few people have Keon's genetics.
You should just go let Charles Glass just ride the cable on the pull down and get a huge back. Like you do not need to be going berserk and then getting hurt in the gym. Like you don't need to be that guy.
Yeah.
Oh man. So I also wanted to ask you about farming. How's the farming going?
It's going good. That's going really good.
You know?
Yeah.
You haven't had any papers sent to you from you haven't had any mail sent to you from the federal government or anything like that? They leave you alone out there?
Yeah, they leave me alone. Yeah, luckily I have a license, so I'm doing this legally. But yeah, I think things are going super good. You know what? I remember. It's funny you mentioned farming because I know you grew up on a farm and you've farmed, and your dad's a farmer. You come from a farming family, and I remember you talking about this. I don't know if we talked about this before, but on a podcast, you said something about rock duty, going out there and picking up rocks.
Yes.
Because when we till our field, there's rocks in the field and it fucks up our implements. It fucks up my tiller, fucks up everything. Like if I'm out there and I'm brush hogging my field, I need the rocks cleared. So like it's so funny that like I have rock duty. I have my guys go out and clear my field of all the rocks. So you just got guys out there picking up big rocks all day so I can mow my field.
Putting them in like the back of a wagon or something.
Yep, and then I got an area on the back 40 that I go and I dump all my rocks. So I have I have a pond, and then I have a creek that runs through my property. So on the outside of that creek, we just line it with all the rocks in the field.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm pretty close to the river, so we've got like some riverbed, like a lot of rock that fucking just comes out of nowhere every year. Every year you till your field, you're like,
it's always coming up.
I'm waiting for the year that I don't till my field and have just thousands of rocks coming up. It just doesn't seem
I remember taking my Walkman, cassette Walkman with my headphones, and I had like Metallica, like all the Metallica albums dubbed onto cassettes. Yeah. And I would like just drive the tractor and listen to Metallica and load rocks all weekend. Yeah. Up and down, get do as many acres as you can. How many acres do you have?
So I have 16 acres, like 16.5.
So how much is devoted to like the crop?
So I have a full acre of canopy. What I'm allotted is 40,000 square foot of canopy. So I have about 35,000 square foot outside, so just under an acre. And then I have my 3 greenhouses, and then I have like an indoor room inside my building. So I have to kind of evenly structure it
to make it work
to fit within that 40,000 square feet. Yeah. So it's a full acre.
What about security? Like, is there security concerns with those crops? Like, I know you're in Oregon.
Yeah, I mean, so there's times of the year where I have to do like an overnight staffing. So it's, I have 8-foot fence with barbed wire around my entire property. I think I have like 72 cameras total at like every corner of my field, and like alarms, and like all my greenhouses are set up on alarms. So if they open, they fucking scream. And like, if anybody opens any of my gates at night, I've got fucking sirens that are howling, but
wow. Okay.
Come time when, like a big
sniper tower,
big slug. I need a fucking sniper tower.
Oh, so if someone comes in on your property, like lights will come on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. For sure.
And, I'm honestly, so where I'm at, it's super cool. So the city is here and my road is right here. And that's the first road that's in the county. So like I'm so close to the city, and the city police will actually come out and respond if my alarm goes off. That's so like cool. My alarm goes off and they're calling me, and I can have somebody there like really quick. It's pretty cool. So I'm not like way out in the fucking boonies where like you're in no man's land. You're totally fucked. Like I'm actually in a good place where I have, the police at my back, and I'm also like 5 minutes away. So my alarm goes off. I check my cameras. I can blaze in my BMW, be there in like 3 minutes.
Have you ever had anything like where something seems suspicious, something goes off, and you've had to race over there?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, dude, this is one of those things like, if that alarm goes off at 2 a.m. and for some reason my cameras aren't working, I gotta go. Yeah, I have to go there.
So where you're at,
where
you're at, the odds of like the cartel coming to steal your crop or not, they're pretty minimal.
So where I'm at, the cartel is growing. Like we have so much. So like they're really cracking down right now, but the last few years have been pretty wild. The cartel's been coming through, not just buying land, but like forcing people out of their land, like doing these crazy leases and then fucking the landlords over. And like, it's been a big deal.
Wow.
But they'll have like, you get a hemp endorsement, right? So a hemp endorsement doesn't have that allotted canopy size. You can grow as much fucking hemp as you want. So there's a cartel out here with 150 acres where it is 150 acres of nothing but weed.
Wow.
And it's supposed to be hemp, but they're growing THC, and they're just blowing it out. But there's been a lot.
If nobody comes to check, you mean like no one's going to come and check their weed?
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So they have the funding that they have for coming and testing this shit is so minimal. So like just people are blowing out 150 acres of THC and getting away with it. But this year they've been like, it's kind of wild because there's certain like country roads where you drive down where it used to be like fucking pot field, just endless as far as the eye can see. And a lot of that shit's just wiped out because now there's rules like if you get busted, I forget the name of the law, but if somebody gets busted growing THC, they can seize the property. So a lot of these landlords are pulling out, and you know the enforcement, they've poured some money into enforcement, and they're cracking down on these guys. It's pretty cool. It's good to see because that shit, it's the illegal market, but it makes its way into my legal market. You know, people find ways to get that into the system, then it's just dropping the prices, and it got pretty bad the last few years.
Do you think the government in your state has done a good job handling all this? Like the legalization and the sales and the regulation and all that?
Yes and no. I mean, it's tough. They did put a moratorium on licenses, so now like you like nobody can come here and grow. Like you can't just come here and grow. They did have a rule in effect that you had to have you had to live here. You had to be a citizen of Oregon for X amount of years or something. So you couldn't just have people from California, Colorado, Arizona showing up and growing. But then they got rid of that, which I think they should have kept that. Because it's it's a small state, and we don't have interstate commerce, so I can't take my flower and go into California or go into Vegas and sell my weed. I have to sell it in Oregon. Right. And there's so many people doing it in Oregon. Luckily, I have my own dispensary, so a lot of my product just goes right to my own store, and I'm vertically integrated, so it's a lot easier on me. But if I wasn't, it would probably been pretty hard the last few years.
That's wild. That's wild.
Yeah.
How did you even get into all that?
Let's start on the streets.
Yeah.
Well, it used to be BMX.
yeah, exactly. So going to the skate park every day, my brother was the guy. My brother was the weed guy. He just always had weed. He was the guy selling fucking dime bags out of his pickup at the skate park when he was 18 years old. So,
oh boy.
And so he's an entrepreneur.
Yeah, exactly. You're a true entrepreneur. The roots. So from there, we convinced my parents to let us grow weed in our backyard. And you could get a medical card and you could grow 6 plants.
Yeah.
So my mom got a medical card. My dad got a medical card. We grew 12 plants in the backyard. And then we made no money. We rotted the plants and it was a disaster, and it rained and all the plants broke because we didn't know what we were doing. And then the next year we did 24. We made a little bit of money. And the next year we did 24 again. We kind of honed it in and made a little bit of money, but then we had a really early winter. I mean, Ron, it's like, it froze the first week of October. I lost my whole crop.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it goes. Like you can't predict this shit. And if you don't know, you don't know. So I remember one year where we were like cranking. I was like, this is it. And then we got that early October freeze. And then I'm going out and all my buds are mush. It's like everything's mold. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened? And then you lose everything. And then you got to restart again. It's like I explained to people, it's like bodybuilding where like, you go into the gym for the first 5 years and don't do anything, right?
Yeah.
It's no different. It took me 10 years before I was like, oh, I know how to grow weed now.
Okay.
Right. It took me 10 years for sure.
Yeah.
But now I have, I went from like that 6, 12, 24 plants in my parents' backyard. Right now I have over 8,000 plants in my field.
Holy crap.
Yeah. I think I put something on my story. If you pulled up on Instagram, I think I walked through my field a little bit yesterday.
I'll find it. I'll throw it up here too.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy, man. And the funny thing is because when you think about the idea, because for a while here before it was legal in Michigan for recreational purposes, people would say, yeah, get the medical card and you're allowed to grow this many plants. And it almost sounds on the surface like this real simple get rich quick scheme, before you put the thought into everything you've just said.
Well, it's just like everybody who's like, oh man, if I took steroids, I could be a bodybuilder. It's the same shit. And it's business, man. Like the amount of fucking investment and overhead I have at my farm, like you guys have no fucking idea. I mean, Ron knows that tractor that I have that I till my fields every year, that cost me $40,000.
Wow.
Just my tractor, just to rototill my fucking field.
Yeah.
You know, and then the spray implement that I use, like that I tow behind my Ranger, that I paid $12,000 for my Ranger, then another $7,000 for the spray implement. And then every year it costs me like fucking $4,000 a month just in the material to spray my plants. So like at the end of the year, I'm like, it cost me fucking $500,000 to do this. Yeah. If you want to make $1 million a year, you better be prepared to spend $500,000 to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know, and that's the problem. People don't have, you know, when you have that money, it's hard to want to spend it on anything other than yourself. You know what I mean? So like, you have all this money, you're like, I could go buy a house, like buy a car, buy a brand new fucking motorcycle. Fuck what I got. Like, no, actually, I need a new sprayer. And my rototiller just took a shit. And if we want to grow more weed, I'm going to need another building to dry it in. So we got to build another building back here. And if I want another building back here, I actually have to get a new power service, and that's $20,000. And then we have to have it wired. That's another $15,000. And then we want to do an indoor room. Let's do a 20 light room. Well, each light's $1,500. So there's $30,000 right there. And then you're like, okay, it's this small expansion right there just turned into fucking $250,000, you know?
Yep.
Right.
So like when people see where I'm at, I'm like, yeah, I opened my dispensary in 2018. For the first 2 years, I took $2,000 a month. That first year, my dispensary did $1.5 million gross. And I took home $24,000 for 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I had gigantic tax bills. I had fucking, you know, I had expansions that I wanted to do. We were investing that money into my farm because I bought my farm after my dispensary. You know, it's like, dude, $2,000 a month is like, that's tough to live on.
Yeah.
You think?
You know? So, but that's what we had to do. You know, my brother and I, we looked at the money and it's like, okay, if we both take $2,000 a month, that's $4,000, and it leaves X amount. We can do this. We can put this much down on the property. Then our mortgage is going to be this much. And then if we want to build this building, because we need a building, the building's going to be $150,000. We take this, you know, so it's like somebody asked me the other day, it's like, what's your advice for somebody starting a business? And I was just like, spending. Don't spend your money because it's not yours. If you want a successful business, you need to reinvest in yourself. And guess what? When you do spend that money on your business, that's called a fucking tax write-off.
Yeah.
You know? So spend it in the right places, grow your business, wait 5 to 10 years, and then you'll have money.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem. Everybody wants to spend the money as soon as it's there, and they're robbing Mother Goose the whole time.
Well, it can be pretty tempting. You know?
Sure.
Well, the number gets high enough, you're like, what's $100K?
I'm like, fuck it.
I feel that.
Absolutely.
But I don't. If you have the right mindset, it's just like bodybuilding, where you're like, I want to keep building this. I want to see it grow. I want progression. Like if you can wire yourself like that, you don't want to spend the money on anything but your business. Mm-hmm. When you see that money there, you just think about ways that you could expand, and it's like it's fun. It's a game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Well, one of the things that I've spoken about a few times was that bodybuilding to me kind of reminds, like, I'm wondering if I like bodybuilding because it was sort of seasonal, like you know, you'd have these rotations of your work intensity.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if I got that from that's how I grew up watching my dad. Like, you know, the summers he had time for summer vacation. We could take a month-long trip in the motorhome and go camping and come home for a month. And, you know, and we used to do that 3-4 week summer vacations in the motorhome. We'd drive all over Western Canada. I'd have my bike on the back of the motorhome. What a blast. My dad could do that because, you know, farmers have those seasonal breaks. And,
exactly.
And I sort of feel like bodybuilding was, you know, obviously like that. And I'm just wondering if you see the connection between farming and bodybuilding.
Oh, I absolutely do. Well, I mean, this is a perfect example, right? So I just took 3 weeks out. I told my brother, he's my business partner. I was like, hey, I'm done. I'm checking off. I won't be at the farm. I need you to handle things. And that's the beauty of having a good business partner. I wasn't quite 3 weeks out. I think I was like 18 days out, but I was like, this is it. It's my threshold. Don't expect me to be there. I'm checking off. But it was that window where it's like you get to the crop where it's like set it and forget it. We're fine. We're planted. We're planted. Everything's caged and trellised. Everything's on autopilot. I've got a watering system that you just push a button and it waters my field. And for the next 2 weeks, all we got to do is push that button and watch it grow. So it's like this perfect little window where I got to just check out. And those are those little gaps in time. But then come harvest time, I may have worked, 20 hours total this month, and I'll work, 15 hours every single day for a month straight when we're harvesting.
Right. Yeah, not to mention at 2 a.m. on any given day, you might be driving out there like a bat out of hell, the alarm goes off. Like that doesn't not happen ever.
Yeah. You fucking, when you are working for yourself and you're running your own business, it never turns off. So I don't ever get to like, as much as I said, that last 2 weeks of my prep, I just like disconnected. You're still fucking, man. When I was in Chicago, we went from Chicago to Toronto, and those last few days in Toronto, I was like, I have to get home. Like I just like have to be there. I have to go to my farm. I have to check into my businesses. Like it's been too long. I gotta go.
Do you how do you feel about big cities? Like when you're, you live in a unique place. You've got a unique situation. Would you ever live in a big city?
Well, listen,
the way you've lived.
I think right here where I'm at, it's so small, and like I think I showed you the property where I'm building my house right now. Yeah. And it's so secluded, and the fucking mountain views, and it's quiet. You can't hear a damn thing. There's zero light pollution. When you're up there at dark, like the stars are the brightest you've ever seen them ever. Mm-hmm. But when I leave and I get to go out with my wife, and like we love food, so I love to go and have all these restaurants to go to, and even like a cool coffee shop or a cool ice cream shop, something like that. You know what I mean? Like those are the little things that I'm missing here, but I think I get enough of that when I travel with bodybuilding that every time I come home, I value this place just a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The slow pace of it, and it has everything that I need. I have my gym, I have my family, my whole family's here, and my businesses are here. Obviously I'm building my house. We've got investments here. Like I'm here, and I love it. But sometimes I wish I had a little more. But then you travel these big cities and you scratch that itch, and then at the end of the week you're like, I'm good.
Yeah. How far are you away from like driving distance from a place if you wanted to go somewhere for like a cool dinner or a couple days?
Well, there's a town that's about 45 minutes outside of where I'm at that has fucking awesome food, awesome restaurants, culture, lifestyle. It's pretty cool. It's still a smaller place, but like if I was talking about a big city, Portland is about 3.5 hours away from me.
Okay.
Yeah. So if I wanted, and we do this pretty often, where we'll just go spend the weekend in Portland, and in Portland there's always good shows, good fucking concerts, amazing food. Portland's a cool place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why I asked, because that's where I'm at. We kind of are just outside of the little town that you're talking about that's 45 minutes away.
Yeah.
But even that, when you're used to a big city, isn't a ton. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
because you're coming from Scottsdale.
Yeah, exactly. So there's more restaurants in one street than there is in the entire city here.
Insane. Every time I go to Arizona, I'm just like, let's fucking eat.
Yes, it's there to eat. I don't know how everyone isn't fat, but yeah. So we'll do that. We'll just do like, I'll wake up in the morning and be like, hey, we're gonna go to dinner in Atlanta tonight.
Yeah,
and we'll just get in the car, drive to Atlanta, stay in a hotel or grab an Airbnb for the night, and then come home the next day.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right, that's good. Got it out of my way.
Easy peasy. It's super easy to do, and honestly, I'll never regret having a very, very quiet, secluded hilltop home. I'll never.
Oh, no kidding, man.
I'll never.
That sounds like the dream to me.
You know what I mean?
Unless your house is surrounded by a pack of rabid wolves.
Well, then I didn't think about that. So now
you just ruined his entire dream.
Maybe that'll be like my next business venture. It'll be like wolf protection.
There you go.
Yes,
you don't need the alarms anymore.
Protecting people from. Yeah, exactly.
No. So
I wouldn't mind having maybe like a. Sorry, I know there's a bit of a glitch. What I was saying is I wouldn't mind maybe having a place somewhere that I could, that's maybe a little more in touch with bodybuilding. We talked about like maybe getting like an Airbnb in Vegas or something like that maybe we could spend a few months of the year at. And
that'd be cool.
And something like that. But, that's obviously future endeavors.
I think you might be surprised how quickly that wears off. I got to go to Arizona this week, but the last time I went, I was there for 6 days. And when I was to the airport, I was like, take me home. Like, I don't know what happened, but like I slowed down. So the 4 million people was a lot all of a sudden. And really, I only go there now to go to Muscle Factory, which is the greatest gym. And I'm like, oh, Mutant's going to have me go for a day. I'll stay for 4 to train. That's what we do. We just train and eat. I come back heavier and fatter, and it's perfect.
Beautiful.
but I can't get on that flight quick enough to get back is my point.
Yeah.
So,
and see, Jasmine and I, we don't do like, we're not partiers. We're not drinkers. We don't give a fuck about nightlife. I like to be home. At my ideal 9 p.m. on a Friday night is like on my couch watching Netflix. Like that's what I want to be doing, you know? So I'm more than content. And again, like I said, you scratch that itch when you travel. All of us are hopping on fucking planes multiple times a year, going everywhere. We get to experience anything we want. So
absolutely.
I had a few questions for you. I know we're going on a full hour of your time, but I wanted to fire a couple things at you. I think the guys might have one or two.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you a couple here, Justin.
Sure. I'm totally good on time. I'm chilling. We're all good.
So when you started training, I know that you're one of the newer comers to bodybuilding. But who would you say when you started training, started bodybuilding, started down this road, who would you say was the most impactful pro?
Well,
you.
I mean, off the gate, I have to say Dorian. Obviously, that's not like a current pro, but immediately I was really drawn to Dorian. I love Dorian's training. And we're talking about when I started like bodybuilding. Before I was bodybuilding, I would go into the gym and I would train like, you know, I was riding like BMX at the time. So like I was just like, I would do some bicep curls and crunches, try to have abs. So I wasn't like bodybuilding. I was just like exercising. Mm-hmm. But once I actually like dove in and started bodybuilding, Dorian was my guy.
Yep.
Right. Was it the training videos?
Yeah.
Was it reading the stuff?
It was the training videos, the training ideologies, the fucking blood and guts, and just the I mean, you know, there's something so captivating about Dorian. Like those old black and white photos, like just any clip you'd see on YouTube or Instagram was just like, fuck, that guy's the best. You know?
I had a thought about how well his character was sort of unintentionally marketed through the magazines.
Yeah, like a fucking WWE character, you know?
Yeah. And the unfortunate thing is that it was kind of before the days where he could have monetized it at all.
I know. I know.
Like the magazines created this shadow. And he was just kind of minding his own business. He wasn't trying to be the shadow.
It's just genuinely who he was. He was just at home chilling, training, and not giving a shit about anybody else.
That everyone else was making all this money off the shadow.
I know.
You know?
I know.
There's no Instagram account that he's not getting credit for any of that shit.
Yeah, there's no shadow tees, like the apparel that he could have dropped. Like he could have crushed it.
Yeah,
he would have crushed it. Oh man, I would have had everything. I would have had the hoodie, the zip up. The the fanny pack, the signature fanny pack. I would have had it all.
The shadow shaker cups, all of it.
I'm literally running down the list of the clothing right now in the 90s and thinking of everything he could have sold. I'm like, is he really going to have shadow scrunch socks? Yes, he is.
Shadow balloon pants and everything. Yeah.
If what was the first Olympia you attended?
That was last year, dude.
Okay,
no kidding.
So if you could attend any Mr. Olympia in history, that you haven't attended, which one would you choose?
And not the one that you win in a few years. We're talking ones that
we're not going forward. We're not going forward. Any Olympia.
Well, if I had to choose one, I might go with 09.
One of the best top sixes ever.
Yeah,
that was a special day.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Can we remember the top six?
No, it's our show. We'll never remember all of them.
It's Jay, it's Kai, it's Phil, it's Dexter,
and
it's Roden.
Was it Roden?
Was he in there?
No.
Or was it, who's the other guy? Victor, maybe?
I was going to say
that picture.
Martinez, yeah.
I'm doing my job right now.
You're doing your job right now?
That was an amazing Olympia.
Yeah, that's that famous picture of them all stepping down for first call out, right? Or last call out. I think it's last call out, a confirmation round. Like they're all stepping down.
So Roden was one of them, but you got him in the wrong order because it was Jay, Branch, Dexter.
Branch got second. Yeah, Branch got second.
Yeah.
Where the hell are they? Geez, now they're skipped out of order. I hate when I click a button and then it changes what I was looking at.
So Branch, of course.
19 more rows. Give them to me. Give them to me. Yeah. Where are they? There they are. Results. Boom. Phil got fifth. Victor got sixth.
Yeah. Yeah. So is Victor. Yeah.
That show. How about this for depth? Dennis James got 14th. I had to look. I mean, Marcus Rule got 15th.
Oh man. Yeah.
You made a great choice though, because there's only two shows, two Olympias, Justin, that I've been to that like I can literally see where I was sitting when the show, like when the moment happened, you know. And I was just to the, like, if you're facing the stage, just to the left of the stage in 09. And that's the side that the athletes were walking out of.
Yeah.
And it was funny because Jay walked out about 10, 15 feet and just stopped, and the show ended. Like it was, literally it was over. Your mouth just dropped. You have chills over your entire body, and you're like, oh shit.
My main memory from 09 is that when they came out for their initial presentation, Branch Warren was the first guy out.
And he was nuts.
So Branch Warren came out and he looked incredible. Like it was all-time best Branch Warren, right?
Yeah.
And then every other guy, nope.
Yeah.
Nope. And we're like, holy shit. We're like 10 guys deep and Branch is killing everyone. Like I can't get it out of my head. 13 guys deep, 14 guys deep. Like they just keep coming out and you're like, nope. And then Jay comes out and you're like, fuck.
Never mind.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Pretty wild. That was fucking exciting, dude. That's amazing.
There was that, and then 03 was the other one though, because that's when Ronnie came out at like 286.
Yes.
Yeah, it was so funny because same thing. They were bringing them all out, and when Ronnie came out, he was so big. The guy behind me started laughing.
Yeah.
You literally. I remember he walked out, and like I was just silent, and the crowd was kind of uneasy. It's like you didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
It was so funny because then when they do the call outs, it looked like he was doing his own thing. Like Jay was in second, but it was so far away in second, it wasn't even funny. You're like, I don't know what just happened.
Like, just posture.
Yeah. But I think it was still more exciting with Jay because I remember being a fan and watching everyone like count him out. They're like, I got him in fourth, I got him in fifth.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like,
and then watch him come out in 09 and just fucking stomp that quad on the ground.
Oh yeah. Can you imagine how happy he was to catch that picture? The picture that set his whole life.
Dude, oh my God.
I got it on my wall right there
next to him.
Yeah. That's so good. And now my favorite pictures from this last show are from a cell phone.
Never funny how it turns out that way.
Yeah.
Never fails.
I've got it on my wall. I've got a signed one on my wall.
Yeah, that's epic.
Yeah.
That's epic. Jay reached out to me the day after I won the show, and I was like, he's like, congratulations. Then he goes, I never doubted you for a second. And I was like, yes. It's just like that was almost the biggest accomplishment, was like having Jay reach out and
that's cool. Second biggest was winning.
Yeah. Then of course my wife telling me I did a good job, but whatever.
Yeah.
Is that how you got anyway? Good job, honey.
Yeah. Not bad. Could have been a little harder, but
I guess it was fine. It was good enough.
Yeah. You know, well, I guess that worked out. Right, with that tone.
Got lucky again.
That's amazing.
What's the situation with Jazz? Is she your number one fan or is she your number one critic?
Both.
She's definitely not my number one fan. She loves me, but I think she knows me too well. She just has too much inside scoop to be my number one fan.
It's amazing.
The thing is, she's never gonna bullshit me. She's never gonna tell me I look good if I don't look good. Good thing is, I always look good. So.
Love it. That's the quote of the show right there. It's done.
But she's very, very even keel and salt. Like, if having her at my shows means so much to me, because she never gets worked up. She's always calm. She's always helpful. She's always supportive. She's always honest, but never too honest. Because sometimes you can be too honest,
Right.
But it's really a blessing. And just to have somebody that totally understands, loves, and appreciates what I do and supports me, man, nothing like it.
We often, believe it or not, get questions about, relationship stuff. And,
blows my mind.
And so yeah, exactly. So what advice would you give, young, and we're talking about, serious bodybuilders that are, they're watching what you're doing and they're like, man, I think I can do that. What advice would you give them in the relationship, sort of genre as far as, about picking a partner? And I think that the number one mistake is people get with people that, aren't right for them.
Yeah, definitely. I think you need someone that supports you, but I think a lot of people look at maybe Jasmine and myself, they look at Ian and Melissa, and they think, okay, so I just have to find a girl that loves bodybuilding and supports her husband in bodybuilding, and that's what I'm looking for. And then you're just trying to hand pick that. But it's not fucking like that. When I met Jasmine, I wasn't a bodybuilder. When she was doing powerlifting, and then she was doing CrossFit for fucking 3-4 years, and then it evolved into what it is now. And because we've shared this journey, we share the passion, the compatibility was there. It wasn't something that I didn't seek out compatibility for my bodybuilding journey. I found somebody that I loved and cared about, and then we grew together, and that compatibility continued to mesh as we evolved as people. You know what I mean? And I think that anybody who's in a relationship with somebody that the relationship means enough to them, they're going to be able to find a way to make it work. So just don't go looking for something that on paper is practical, right? I think checking
boxes.
Yeah, don't go checking boxes. Just keep yourself open and find somebody that you fucking love and care about, and then build on that. I think too many people are just trying to it's like the couples goals thing. Like, yeah, you wouldn't have said that, 7-8 years ago when I was fucking broke and 180 pounds and my wife was making more money than me and I wasn't a pro bodybuilder and I was working for my dad painting houses and living in a fifth wheel trailer. Like, that wasn't couple goals then. You know what I mean?
That's always my favorite comment anyways, because it's like goals. I'm like, based on what? On what I show you? Like, our life could be a complete disaster as two individuals. You have no idea.
Behind me, my sink is full of dishes. You'd be disgusted.
Yeah. But other than that, you're flawless. No, I think that's great advice, because I do.
Truth.
We deal with that. I mean, I'm sure you do too with your clients. Like, I've had a few clients where they're in a situation and they're good enough that I say, you got two choices: quit bodybuilding or get rid of him or her.
Okay, there you go. So on the flip side of that, if you're in a relationship with somebody that doesn't support you, that is holding you back, and ultimately you cherish and value this bodybuilding journey, it's what you want to do, but your partner isn't on board, well, then you might need to tell your partner to get fucked.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Because honestly, compatibility matters, and lifestyles need to mesh, and it needs to work, and there needs to be some cohesiveness between your guys' lifestyles. And if it doesn't mesh, it doesn't mesh, and nip it in the bud. I've seen guys spend years and years and years in relationships that aren't working, that's toxic, and they're pushing and butting heads, and it's not good for either of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
You spend years in like, and then you have these moments where the Saturday night was great, we had a good time. Yeah, but it's like there's intermittent misery in between these like highs and lows. Like, dude,
intermittent misery. That's a t-shirt we're doing. It's going to talk about contest prep, not marriage. But anyways,
you know what? My main thing, if I can insert a little gripe here, my main thing is drama. It all comes down to drama. And when I see, like you spoke about, like, you know, we joked about the couples fighting at the gym, and then she storms out, and then he runs out, and then he comes back in, and then he, you know, like, what's
fueling all that?
Imagine. Right? Sorry,
I said, what's fueling all that? That's always insecurities.
Yes, I can't imagine letting that into my life. You know what I mean?
No.
Full time.
Oh, I couldn't imagine that. I tell guys, I'm like, and my buddy, I'm like, you know, it doesn't have to be this hard. Like, you are constantly battling and working to try to make this thing work. It's not supposed to fucking be like that.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like, don't get me wrong.
Sometimes I think, oh, their sex must be really twisted, and they just don't think they can find somebody else.
Yeah, for sure.
They found the one person that's going to do the thing they like, and they're just like, oh my God,
we'll find another one.
I'll work with the other shit. I still got this.
It's that important.
Maybe that says more about me than it says about them.
Only your mind went there.
Like, she definitely gives good head. That's phenomenal. Relationships should not be that hard, and I think if you're struggling to just have compatibility in your day to day, then fuck it off, because it's not working.
Nope.
Yeah. I had a question on another show. Someone said, like, how does your girlfriend handle you traveling for Mutant and going to expos and all that sort of stuff? And I'm just like, it never even occurred to me that she had to handle it.
Yeah. But
it didn't cross my mind that she had to handle it.
But have you ever been on these trips where, like, your buddy's just like texting the whole time, getting phone calls, and like, hold on, I got to call my girl. And then you're like, Jesus fucking Christ, what's going on? I've been there where I've like shown the call log. I'm like, look, it's the end of the day. She hasn't called me once. Okay.
Yeah.
We're good. Like, that's how it should be. I'm going to FaceTime her later when we're back at the hotel. It's all good. I text her like twice today, checked up on her, whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
well, I don't think it's fair to compare Ron, because Emily knows that he and I are in some empty hotel restaurant eating a steak. That's all.
We're sitting at a Marriott restaurant.
Yeah.
Eating a meal by ourselves. We're probably the only guys in there at like 11 o'clock p.m.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. No, I've been really lucky. And, you know, dude, Jasmine has her own shit going on. She's running the gym. She's got her training. She's also in prep right now for nationals. She's going to do nationals here in 18 weeks. Nice. So she just has her own shit going on. And when I've got my own shit going on, it doesn't interfere with her shit. So she still continues doing what she has to do while I do what I have to do. You know?
Yeah.
And as long as your girlfriend isn't a jealous, insecure asshole, it's going to work out.
Right.
You'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very helpful advice from Justin Shier.
Yeah.
Cut to the chase.
How many, see, where else, like, this is the thing about our show.
Yeah.
Where else can they go and get this type of advice?
In-depth advice.
In-depth relationship advice from an Olympia qualified bodybuilder.
Yeah, who better to give it than me, right?
Yeah, just imagine the layers of experience you have as an Olympia qualified bodybuilder.
Yeah, first go is pro debut.
Yeah,
I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. So how many shows? How many shows now? You've got 4 total shows.
Yeah, 4 total shows. Yeah, I'm qualified for the O.
Do you know what the record is? You should look. What the minimum number of shows anyone's ever qualified for the O is.
You got to be right there because Phil did
19,
amateur
20,
show.
21, yeah.
You probably are winning because think about it. Phil won the Colorado, then he won Junior Nationals, then he won the USAs, and then he did 2 shows, which I guess he technically qualified in the first. So you're tied for Phil right now.
See, guys, I'm Phil Heath.
No, you're going to beat him because you got to get 9 Olympias, then it's done.
Yeah, that's it. You're almost there.
Is it too soon to say 9 Olympias? Is that
maybe, but we'll see.
I don't think it technically is because I have people that reach out before their first show and tell me they want to win an Olympia. I'm like,
that's true. I'm coaching like 5 guys right now that are going to be Olympians or going to be Mr. Olympians.
See, so there you go. 9 Olympias it is.
I got one kid in my gym that tells me he's going to be the first natural Mr. Olympia.
Hey, stars.
Hey,
What depends on your version of natural.
I said it's pretty unlikely, but I hope you prove me wrong. And best of luck.
Yeah, definitely. Never shit on kids' dreams.
No, never tell him he's an idiot.
I would never do that.
Nope.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, that's great.
Well, thanks, man. We really appreciate your time, dude. You're always welcome on the show, and we're glad to have you. Thanks for coming on.
Of course, man. Honestly, I'm a fan of the show. I watch your guys' show. I've always watched it, and I love you guys. And I'm happy to be here. I appreciate you guys having me on.
It was great to see you in Toronto. I'm glad I got to chat with you for a minute. It was good. Those shows are so hectic. I didn't know if I'd run into you, so that was awesome.
Yeah, and we didn't get to have any fun food or anything because I was dieting. But maybe after the Olympia, we can go.
You didn't look nearly as saucy as you did at the O.
Yeah, I was really flattened out.
It was the sauciest look. I love that word. You're taking me back when you throw that one out.
I know. Yeah.
So I guess.
In the face and
100 mgs of Anadrol.
I'll do it.
We will see you in Orlando.
Yeah, man, crazy. Unbelievable.
And, yell and scream and all that stuff. So try not to blow your waist out deadlifting between now and the Olympia. I hate for you to ruin that physique.
Yep, I'll do my best.
Okay. Anything you just want to?
Squatting either.
And no what?
No squatting either.
Yes. Be very careful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Has nothing to do with fucking eating McDonald's every day. That doesn't blow out your waist. It's fucking deadlifting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, thanks, Justin. We appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.
Remember, everybody, it's just bodybuilding. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
See ya.
Thanks, man.
Well, that was fun.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
It was good.
Yeah,
it was great.
Of course, man. I'm always happy to do it. Honestly, I watch your guys' show. I love the platform. Like, even if you wanted to come on, they wanted me to come on sometime during this prep, and we just treat it like a regular show. We answer questions and roll, and doesn't make it about me.
That would be a blast, man.
Oh, that's
the audience
great,
would love that too. The audience would love just like answering questions.
We should do
stuff.
a blind live where we don't tell them that Justin's going to be on.
Yeah,
I'm down.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Can you imagine the questions that they're like, what the hell?
Do you realize that this is the only bodybuilding podcast where 50% of the guys on it can do a tail whip on a BMX?
That should be the title of the next podcast.
What other podcast show can do a tail
whip?
The
other 50% don't know what that is.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So you guys are all going to be? Is Mutant going to do a booth at the Olympia?
Oh yeah, we're gonna be there full blast,
Right on, dude. Yeah, we're gonna have a booth at HQ as well.
Yeah, we have a really good rep on like the East Coast, and we're really pushing hard into the States. So that's gonna be important for us. So we will be there.
Right on, man.
Yeah,
I'm looking
thanks, man. Good luck with everything, dude.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Pretty exciting times.
Hell yeah, dude.
Okay. Yeah, and give our best to Jazz too.
Yeah, we'll do.
18 weeks.
We'll do. All right, guys.
All right. See you, man.
Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Peace.
There we go. Justin Shier, everybody.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go.
You can't talk yet.
Hello, everybody. Okay, Justin Shier. That was great. Always good to have him on. It's pretty easy to chat. I enjoyed the farm stuff. Like, I really liked when he talked about his like security system, and like I was like, oh yeah, he's got to have all that shit,
And just how he built that business too. I mean, like literally from nothing. Like he had to start
plants,
from nothing.
16 plants, 24 plants. Yeah.
8 plants that failed.
And then 24 plants died. Shit. And then just keep working. So I liked it a lot. So we'll leave that as an episode. Remember, everybody, like, share, subscribe, comment, and
ring the bell.
And remember, IamMutant.com, Dusty20, Big Ron 20. Get your 20% off. Get your ISO Surge. Get your all in. And everyone should get on the gear.
Lots of gear.
Of course, Think Big Bodybuilding Media, Patreon. Keep a producer homed. Scott McNally. Thanks, everybody. We will see you again soon on It's Just
Very
Bodybuilding.
Soon.